I'm going to be talking about week 6 of doing the artist way and grouting this piece. Alright, so hello. So today we're grouting this 30 by 40 inch piece, and I'm going to be talking about week 6, recovering a sense of abundance. In this chapter, Julia Cameron talked a lot about money and our relationship with money in terms of being an artist. I probably should go get my book, shouldn't I? Got my notes. So I just want to talk about my relationship with money and my ongoing healing journey when it comes to money. I've pretty much always had a scarcity mindset when it came to money, and over the years art has really helped heal that. I'm like out of breath because I ran upstairs, but art was the catalyst that began that healing journey. It made me realize that my thoughts and feelings about money were really warped. I'm gonna start mixing the grout and getting that ready, and then we can just talk. Oh, and while I do this, I'm gonna put on a mask to protect from the powder. I had a really hard time deciding whether or not I wanted to take pottery, and the main factor was the fact that it would cost like $200 some to take this pottery class. And I remember talking to my mom about it, like, I don't know, it's such, you know, big amount of money, and like it's just for something fun, and like I really should be like saving because my loans are gonna start having to be paid back. And she was like, well, do you have the money? And I was like, well, I do have the money. And so she was like, then why not do it? Like, you'll get paid again next week, or, you know, 2 weeks time. You should just go for it. Like, if you have the money, why not spend it? She just told me, she's like, you know, you've always been really good with money. You don't spend a lot. What's the harm in spending a little bit on something that you really want to do? And then after I finished those pottery classes, I was also really pottery, just point blank. I did the 30 by 30 challenge, which I have a video on that, and that required me to buy glass, right? To buy stained glass, to buy wood, and to buy glue and all these different materials that I had never really dropped a lot of money on before. Before that, I was making my mosaics with just like broken bottles, plywood, and tiles, things I could easily source. And this was my first time spending probably about $200 some on all these supplies just so I could do this like fun mosaic challenge. And it was scary. It felt super frivolous and silly, but again, it was my second instance of really just dropping money on a passion just because I thought it would be fun. Let's get started. This is gonna start drying. So I'm gonna do this in sections, and I'm probably gonna have to go back down, but I'm just gonna try to get halfway. She says here in The Artist Way, chapter 6, is most of us harbor a secret belief that work has got to be work, not play. And that anything we really want to do, like write, act, dance, must be considered frivolous and be placed a distant second. We are operating out of the toxic idea that God's will for us and our will for us are at opposite ends of the table. And I think a lot of times when we do try to play, we often try to make it into work as well in order to kind of legitimize it. And she writes here, many of us equate difficulty with virtue. an art with fooling around. Hard work is good. And I just want to say that creative work, art, is hard because it requires radical vulnerability. And I think when we creatively express ourselves, especially as adults, it just takes so much like self-love and self-acceptance to let yourself do that. And I think that that's why I had such a hard time spending money, because I was like, this is play, you know, play is not that important. Play should not be something that I'm prioritizing, and it shouldn't be something that I'm spending my money. I should be saving, I should be putting money away, investing it. When I started to spend money on art, I started very small, right? It started with just the pottery class, then I bought a little bit of glass for $100, then I bought a little bit more glass. I get to a point where I'm selling, and the whole goal of me selling was so that I could make enough money to buy more glass and make more work. That's when money started to become a tool in my mind, and it went from being just something that I wanted to stockpile and save for something bad, you know, or just like for the future or things that I would want, to something that I wanted to use because it would make me happy and because it would enable me to make more art. The money stopped being the goal, right? The goal was something else, and the money was just a means to an end. I believe it was spring of 2018 when I got a call from my cousin that my dad's wife, aka my stepmom, was in the hospital. She'd been battling cancer for years, and the last time I had seen her, her health had drastically and, you know, super noticeably declined. She had lost, I don't know, probably like 50 pounds that she, you know, could not afford to lose. And so she looked so thin, and I could tell mentally she was just a bit out of it. So I wouldn't say I was necessarily surprised that it had gotten to the point where she had to be kept in the ICU, but I just remember dropping everything, packing a bag, being driven to my dad's, and then just being with him for the next few days. She did pass away about 3 days later, and I feel really grateful that I got to be with her for those last 3 days, and I got to be with my dad, who definitely needed support and love at that point. But it was in those moments that I just realized that, like, you just don't know how much time you have. I mean, she was only in her mid-40s or so, you know, and her health had just declined so fast, you know, from diagnosis to dealing with the illness and the cancer to death was so quick. I mean, it was a few years, maybe 4 years or so. And it just made me think, like, what if I only have 4 years left? You know, what if I'm not gonna see 50, you know? And it made me realize that if I want to do something, if I'm gonna do something, I need to do it now. You know, if I'm gonna enjoy my life and have fun, I need to enjoy my life now. And I think this is a sentiment that's shared between a lot of millennials and Gen Z and alphas, is that we're just more like taking these like mini breaks, or we're just giving ourselves treats along the way, and we're not stockpiling, right, our joy for a later date to be enjoyed, right? We're trying to enjoy it now, today, tomorrow, next week. Obviously we have to work, unfortunately. But it just made me realize that, like, I should spend the money, right? Like, if I have the money, which I did, then I should spend the money. If I have the money, then I should use it, you know? And that instead of stockpiling my abundance for a later date, I should be enjoying abundance today. And that is when I got very serious about wanting to be a full-time artist and wanting to make an art career. And it's also when I got really real about needing to invest in my business, right? And invest not just financially, but emotionally and mentally. I look crazy. Look at my nails right now. Anyway, so I'm back in my room. I need to finish this piece off. It's looking good. It's just that there's small crevices because the glass is slightly different heights. And so I have to go in there with a chopstick I usually use or something pointy. I'm probably gonna use this little chopstick to go back and like clean it up. Just wanted to wrap up what I was talking about. 2020, the pandemic begins, and that's when I experienced my second big moment of, I would say, healing with my money, in that I realized again, like the extreme temporariness of life. I gotta live now, right? And I think that mindset just puts you in, at least for me, it put me in a place of abundance. You know, it put me in a place of like, I have more than enough to take care of my needs today. So she ends this chapter talking about how to live luxuriously. And she writes here that it begins with getting into the now, enjoying your day. It begins with giving yourself some small treats and breaks. This is extravagant, but so is God, is the attitude to take when treating your artist to small bribes and beauty. My favorite part about chapter 6 was this exercise that she has of completing the following phrases. So she has, people with money are blank. Money makes people blank. Money equals blank. If I had money, blank. Money causes. I think money, blank. And I wrote these out and I realized that some of them were so toxic. Like some of them were very true. Like for example, I think I wrote something like if I had some money, I wouldn't spend it. Like I literally wrote that. I was like, I probably would just put it away. Like, so after writing out these phrases, I decided to rewrite them and fill in the blanks with something that was much more abundant and something that was aspirational. But I also tried not to make it like a lie, because I don't think you can like trick your brain into changing your mindset. You can't have fallen and scraped your knee and be like, I'm not hurting, I'm totally fine, when like you're bleeding. Another mindset like for that example would be, I'm going to heal, right? I can take care of myself. Anyway, that was week 6. Thank you for joining me, grouting this piece. I really need to get to work because this is drying more and more every minute. And I will see you with week 6. I know I'm like super behind and like these videos are not being produced week by week, but I'm finishing the chapters as I can, even if it's technically I've been doing the morning pages for 60 days. I've been counting the days that I've been doing them. So I think I'm like at the 2-month mark, so I probably should be at week 8, and we're just finishing week 6. So for week 7, I'll see you for week 7. Bye. Follow, subscribe. That would be really nice if you could do that. Subscribe because you like Kiwi and Pluto, my kitties. Anyway, bye.